And for many, the shocker is that we're actually teaming up with Xal'atath to fight him. And that means that the simple narrative mathematics we've done in the past has been a little thrown out the window. So, today, we've got Xal'atath, we've got the return of Ashara, the other side of Azeroth, and all the colossal lore that's about to catapult us into the Midnight expansion. First, Xal'atath. We've got to talk about Xal'atath. I'm actually going to do a full, massive breakdown of her soon, but what's key to understand here is that she's no longer the Harbinger of Dimensius. She actually hasn't been for at least as long as we've known her, and more likely, she hasn't been the Harbinger of Dimensius since the fall of Koresh, which we now actually know happened hundreds of thousands of years ago. And that's funny because when you think about it, the only people who have been calling her Harbinger this whole expansion are basically the people that she has been taking advantage of, and us adventurers. She never outright said she was Harbinger, and yes, we did find the old staff, but that staff, the Harbinger's one, well, that was a relic from a very long time ago. So it's safe to say she was the Harbinger of Dimensius, just that she's clearly no longer.
I am out of range.
It has been in front of her eyes the whole time. We actually went back to when Ansara killed her mother, as a cinematic we saw before this expansion even launched. And in it, the old queen called her the Harbinger.
Already, look at that, bitch! Look at that! Hell yeah!
Xal'atath.
Oh man, that didn't it.
The Harbinger rank. And then when we fished in Dalaran's fountain during its destruction scenario, we got a rusty coin, one from Xal'atath.
What is that? The Goshen thing, man. What the fuck?
And that had the phrase, "The soul of your world in the palm of my hand," inscribed upon it. Not our hand, as in me and my boss Dimensius, but my hand, Xal'atath's. So it's pretty clear she's been working her own scheme, and that's what we patch 11.1. Xal'atath wanted the dark card. She was absolutely doing something with it. Illyria absolutely thwarted that plan. But then in patch 11.1, the Ethereal stole it from right underneath her. We of course knew something was off, because we'd seen the Shadow Guard and Xal'atath working together. So there was a question then, who went rogue? Who betrayed who? Were the Ethereals doing something untoward? No.
Intruders are freeing our prisoners!
And that they originally claimed the Dark Heart for their master Dimensius, but the Xal'atath was always planning to in fact use it for their own purposes.
Stop the Iron
Ethereal's plan to survive in 11.1. That was them staying on mission.
The force grows weaker!
And that means that Xal'atath goes way back.
Alright, I can't hear nothing, man.
If she was the Harbinger of Dimensius at that point, which we believe she was, that would mean that whenever he was defeated and then fragmented, that she was then able to hide out and start working her own plan. Because it is becoming obvious that she is more cunning than Dimensius and will do anything for her freedom. And that's what brings us back to Midnight, because I think it's clear that she will make a more fitting villain than Dimensius ever could. So, we've got Xal'atath's betrayal. It's now time to lock in what else we know about the Midnight expansion. First, it was called the ultimate clash between Light and Void, and that Chris Metzen said the deciding fight between the two will happen at the Sunwell. And this does make a lot of sense, because the Sunwell isn't just the font of arcane energy. You see, after it was corrupted by Kael'thas, Velen then cleansed it with the light, and by cleansing it with the light, that actually opens it up to being corrupted by the void, because light and void are two sides of a coin, as we see in Nara with their whole flipping between their two different states. Now, of course, the Arathi, who we've met in the War Within, have been banging on all expansion about their holy flame and how it's part elemental, part light, part arcane. That Beledar is kind of the same. And of course, we're often watching Beledar go into its void state in real time. Now, the funny thing is the last time that Illyria visited the Sunwell, the void, within her, couldn't help itself, and it actually erupted from her body. It tried to take the Sunwell. That's actually why Illyria was banished from Silvermoon. That's because all the way back during the Legion expansion, after Illyria assumed her void form, Xal'atath said that the caterpillar had became the butterfly. Basically, Zal has been running an angle on Illyria since that expansion. She's clearly been playing her, and it seems that game will end at the Sunwell, as was foreshadowed by the last time Illyria visited the Sunwell. What happens then? Well, if we go deeper into the story of the Sunwell, we discover interesting things. One of them being that to protect what little of its power remained after the Scourge ravaged the whole place, a red dragon named Coilstraz siphoned its energy into mortal form. And this mortal form was a girl called Anvina Taig. Yeah, the WoW comics were a little bit weird. Don't say her name in my local country of Northern Ireland. You might get a slap from people. Anyway,
What?
that energy is now back in the Sunwell. But
What?
it shows us that its power can actually be put or channeled into an individual. I don't think they'll go and regurgitate a bunch of old comic lore, but it is worth thinking about, because that sort of thing could very much be Xal'atath's goal. We've already seen her essences being transferred twice. Once, of course, into the blade, and then into her current elven body. So maybe the next step is into the Sunwell itself. Maybe from the Sunwell into the World Soul. Whatever happens, though, at that final climactic moment, I think I think it will be Xal'atath. The question is in what form, because we could be fighting a Xal'atath who is truly ascendant with the total power of the Sunwell. But it may not only be her, because it's very clear she's not our only candidate villain. The other thing we know for sure is that the last Titan will come after the Midnight expansion. We were of course told by Iridikron how that would go down, because it's core to his plan, that the Harbinger will tear Azeroth from the Titan's grasp, and that they'll return to claim their prize, and basically that's when he will want to gank them. Now, the War Within is telling us that their return is not necessarily a good thing. You know, all of the weird sus Titan stuff we've seen. And that means that the Titans will do anything to reclaim Azeroth, including, of course, destroying us all.
Killing it, yep.
That opens up the opportunity for another alliance of convenience with Xal'atath. But okay, that's what we know for sure. Question. If this is, as Chris Metzen said, the ultimate clash between light and void, and we are seeing all of these void things, right?
So my question is,
with the Shadow Guard, Dimensius,
what do you do after that?
Well, then there's an obvious question. Where's the light in all of this? Where are the Naru? Where are the Silver Hand? What happened to Yrel and her weird light empire over an alternative dragon?
Yeah, what happened to her?
Is fairly simple. If you're looking for the light in all of that stuff, you might be looking too far away, because the answer is right in front of you, right in front of us, and it could be bringing us to the other side of Azeroth. Let me put it like this. Dragonflight hinted at two future expansion locations. First, Khazalgar. Second, Avalorn. Those were the two places teased at the very, very beginning in those Titan notes that we found. Obviously, Khazalgar did become true. We're in it right now. But what about Avalorn? It's weird for Blizzard to tease a place name like that and never really go to it. That's certainly not their modern MO. Well, of course, we know that Midnight...
What the hell? What the hell? Why's it telling me to go there?
But in that very same BlizzCon, and now of course in the actual expansion, we see Hallowfall, and we find these people from the other side of the planet whose whole mission is to fight in something that they call Renalash, which they also say is the clash between light and void. Now, their empire is, we believe, on the other side of Azeroth, and their emperor, given visions by the light, sent the Arathi that we've met as an advanced force to secure Beledar. So, what next? I think it's fairly obvious. The final war, this big clash. And it all points to one of two things.
So the end of Warcraft.
Show up to our side of the world with a massive fleet, likely ready to defend the Sunwell. They'll probably think it's Renalash and they have to come and do their part. But to be honest, so far, we are hearing that they're basically light extremists. So maybe there's a chance that they'll try to fight us for the Sunwell.
He keeps saying that, and I have yet to see them actually even push that.
And certainly when you listen to these Arathi NPCs and you hear what they're telling us about how it is back home, that's certainly not beyond belief. One example, General Steelstrike knew what an old god was. And that does point to Avalorn being the potential location of the all but confirmed, or at least heavily speculated upon, 5th old god. But then deeper than that, we know that the Arathi have also been fighting the Naga for centuries. And that brings us to the other big antagonist of Midnight. The other character with huge potential, Queen Ashara. Ashara's return has been foretold since the beginning of Dragonflight, and that's not me doing weird fluffy words, literally they're in-game prophecies. Back in patch 10.0.7, we found a Naga prophecy telling us that Ashara would be coming back. And that prophecy stated that a primal power, which we now believe is a Ridicron, wanted to end order. Of course, the Titans. We also learned that a hunger lost to the ages, which we now know as Galakrond, would be reclaimed, which of course we saw in Dragonflight. And that finally, a dark heart left broken awaits the taking. Well, the broken dark heart, after Illyria clinged it with the arrow, was just taken by that ethereal in 11.1 and is now in Koresh. And that means we're at the end of that prophecy. On the Siren Isle, the Naga we found told us, with their dying breath, that Ashara was about to return. So, yeah, I'm pretty confident that means Ashara will be back in Midnight. Remember, the last thing Ashara told us directly was that she was done dealing with intermediaries and heralds, and that she wanted to find the true throne of power. Then she yeeted herself into a void portal. We don't know where she went, but wherever it is, she probably did what she did best. Claimed a shitload of power. Now, with the Midnight expansion, she's returning to, as the Naga put it, rule over sea, sky, and earth, which actually gives us 3 options for Midnight's capstone villain: Ashara, the Arathi Empire, or Xal'atath herself. That's a lot of possibilities, so let's bring them all together. We're obviously going to the Sunwell for the final clash between Light and Void. Dimensius will be mostly out of the picture, and that will leave us with 3 solid options for who we're going to be fighting. First, the Arathis. If we're to believe Farron and what she says about her people, they basically are not as open to outsiders and those who they consider to be different. So we can't guarantee that them, even though they are agents of the light, they will be on our side. Perhaps they won't be an end boss, but if we do end up in Avalorn, we may find ourselves on the wrong side of their politics. Second is Queen Ashara. This is perhaps the most obvious pick for an end boss. Blizzard have also said we're reuniting the lost elven tribes. Queen Ashara considers herself not just Queen of the World, but in particular, the Queen of all elves. Obviously now that's the more fishy Naga variety, but yeah, it does mean all elves. And even though we had a brief alliance of convenience, I mean, come on, it's Queen Ashara. You can look at her every act through the history of this IP. She's not going to be our overall ally. And then, of course, most intriguing is Xal'atath. Her story with Illyria is barreling towards some sort of climax with the Sunwell, but we're yet to know what side either Illyria or Xal'atath will be on, or even what Locust Walker has actually got planned for all of this stuff. There is a chance that Xal'atath has been playing the deepest long game imaginable, that she could be trying to free our world soul from the Titans and thus give her free will or something. Alternatively, maybe the most obvious, she could just slurp up the power of the Sunwell and use that as a connection to the world soul, maybe to do a body swap with Azeroth, making Xal'atath suddenly the most powerful being in existence, which, would be quite the way up from being trapped in a dagger by a bunch of bizarre octopus people, which is, how she probably spent the last few 100,000 years. Now, bringing all of that together then, it's fairly clear that Midnight has more moving parts than we ever thought. And with patch 11.2 just around the corner, I think we're soon to find out a lot more who our real villains will be. And by the way, there is something important to say. Now, I'm going to expand upon this in a new video like in 2 days' time, but you should know it. Basically, whenever Chris Metzen returned to Blizzard, they were a fair bit into production of War Within. A lot of things were basically locked in at that period. And it very much seems that the World Soul Saga's overall influence
shit?
Mostly impacts how they bent the War Within that they had at that point of time, and then how they developed some things like War Within patches, especially, of course, what we're seeing now with Koresh. I think that with that context, the idea of them rushing through the War Within so they can actually set up the, big Midnight and Last Titan stuff makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of that is reflected in the lore that we've just discussed in this video. And if you want to understand more of this from the actual game design perspective, you've got to watch this video next, because Ian, the game director, basically owned up to loads of the things the team were doing wrong on a systemic level for years. Today we have spoilers, yet they don't show us what happens next. They show us what happened.
I actually don't want to look at that because, I didn't do the full shit yet. You know what? This add-on, by the way, fucking sucks. Get rid of it. It ain't worth it. Oh no, the worst one. The worst one.
Stop casting. AOE inbound. Stop casting.
God damn it, man. It's fucking with my rotation, dude.
Stay away from mines. Stop casting. Stop casting.
Fuck, man.
Formation. Now! Come on, swines! Move like you signed up for this!
Watch your feet.
I do not have a target. I need to target something.
Phase 2. Find shelter.
I've got my sights on you. Let 'em have it, boys. I've got my sights on you. Give 'em all you got.
Find shelter.
I've got my sights on you. Give 'em all you got. Rapid fire! Let 'em have it, boys. I am out of range.
Find shelter.
Rapid fire! Let 'em have it, boys. I've got my sights on you. Give 'em all you got. I've got my sights on you. Let 'em have it, boys.
Find shelter. Phase 3.
Let's take this down to your level. It is not ready yet.
God damn it, really, Blizzard? Fuck you, Blizzard!
Run away.
No, fuck. No, no.
Shockwave.
Fucking can't even.
Incoming. Shockwave. Breath incoming.
I require a target. I do not have a target.
Shockwave.
That's so lame. I lost my fucking buff. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, there you go. No, yeah, go ahead, bitch. Go ahead.
I must get closer. I will forfeit my own soul to protect my people. The dead speak to those who live. This acolyte and I
What, man? No! Come out! What the hell are you doing to me?
stop that boy from opening that portal.
We will return with help.
Help me, the
Worthless.
We need to keep going. Because I only got an hour.
Let's get to work.
No, I often feel like they put that there on for a reason. Like, in other words, they're guiding the player to go this route. What's this? What's going on down there? Let us speak. Hour against come, my brothers and sisters. We will bring justice to our dead by sending its force to the darkness beyond. You three, follow our champion onto the battlefield and listen for my call.
We are yours to command.
Damn, okay. You're mad.
Too far away. We don't have much more time. Everyone, get to high ground!
Eh.
Well, I'd say we made an end.
Oh, Kilrog, what the hell? Did they change something?
I must get closer.
I can't free him. Okay, well, you should be able to.
I am out of range. I must get closer.
There we go.
Have you seen a wrench anywhere? Keep those irons in the fire. Watch your back. Here she goes. Off with you. Wait for it. Good blow! Oh, was that the prettiest thing?
Who's there? Run.
Oh, that's where I fucked up. I didn't. Yeah, okay.
Kill 100 of these pigs with this shovel alone. Tell me, what do you see?
Alright. This is the most boring part of the whole thing.
Have a good one. Need your flamethrower. You do the fighting, I'll do the fixing. Now, let's get up on that time.
Alright, here we go. Most boring part of the whole thing.
We'll do what we can, Thalen. Hero, keep these orcs off of us.
You picked the wrong time, Blizzard.
Coming over the rise! Look out!
These controls don't make sense. Remind me never to drive a tank built by an orc.
Hold strong, everyone. Here they come.
They're bringing up explosives. Destroy those cunts before they get close. There are so many of them.
Don't you give up yet, Paladin.
Keep killing. My fucking hand hurts. That shit is fucking painful.
How can I help you? Keep those irons in the fire. Have a good one. That danged army should be here any minute. Let's move.
Come at me, Hellscream! Don't be a fool, Gano. Run! We will fight another day.
Look out! Keep moving. I see the ships ahead.
Where now? Head for the ships at the end of the road. This way. Go! Go! Go!
There is no place to run, outsiders. This is my world. We will find you.
Ignore his threats. We will go to Shadow for reinforcements. This time, the Draenei will try.
Alright, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Let's get to work. Let's get underway then. We will need to build a stronghold if we hope to end the Iron Horde threat. And we're going to need help from the north. To Shadow move!
Oh, they just. Oh, because alright, never mind. Yeah, come on! Yeah, it's so much fun!
We welcome your help.
This hero and many others from another world have come.
It is good to see you, my child. How goes the fight? You all plant your banner and claim your destiny. I can open up a portal to Stormwind only briefly. I do hope my
I require a target. Too far away.
Ready to work.
I am out of range.
Ready to work. Orders, Commander. We've got a lot of work. Impressive work. An excellent choice of lumber, if I do say so myself.
We must hold on to our faith. We must unite with the giant defeated. We shouldn't have any more trouble clearing out the area.
I'll call in a few favors. My men are standing. Just say the word, Commander. On it. We'll get it done. We've got a lot of work to do.
What news from the front? Be careful, Commander. If these pale orcs are real, who knows what powers they possess?
Speak quickly. On your way.
Need help? Go with honor.
Light be with you.
What do you need? On it. I'll call in a few favors. I feel so relieved. Maybe I can actually do some stargazing tonight. That'd be a nice change of pace.
Light bless you. Light be with you. Be careful.
Barracks look fantastic. You should go check in with Marat. I'm going to hang out here and admire my handiwork.
How goes the fight? With the barracks complete, Kiana just headed out to Moonflower Valley. She is quite eager to explore this new land.
What brings you here?
Glory to Gilneas. Gilneas will be reborn from the blood of our enemies.
Come, speak with me. Next.
We must never rest. I will go meet you here.
List.
Listen. Who amongst us hasn't declared that we have the documents in our possession on our desk, only to find out that those documents we had in our possession on our desk are actually just non-existent and never existed to begin with?
The dog ate the Epstein client list.
All right.
As far as I'm concerned, I just think we need to congratulate them for showing restraint and not just saying that like Epstein didn't exist. That like there was no Epstein. What are you talking about? Because
Right.
I feel like we're 1 week away from
Right.
that.
It was spelled Berenstain Bears.
Right.
Yeah, the Mandela effect.
Right.
Okay, well, with that caveat, thank you, Brandon. They haven't gotten there yet. They haven't gotten to the galaxy brain that and the true reality that this is all a simulation and Epstein never existed. So we can accept this level of denial, at least for now. Here is Chris Cuomo hosting Bill O'Reilly, who is defending Trump for burying the Epstein materials that he promised to release on the campaign trail.
Destroy people. I talked to President Trump man to man. I
can't remember now, man. What the hell?
And the King files. It was all one conversation, and he said, and I
Can you
agree.
pause it? I'm sorry. Okay. I just have to point out the gratuitous name drop and the specificity of the location on St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure this was a very saintly conversation between these two sex predators, but also, like, we get it, Bill O'Reilly. You want to be as relevant as possible. You talk to the president. Keep going.
It was all one conversation.
I talked to him. I'm old.
There are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets
That dude's probably hiding something too.
destroyed. Because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about.
Can I just say, like, a lot of people have that sort of implication on probably the best of one being Noam Chomsky, which I would like to think is just like a rich guy, doing that, and Noam didn't have any involvement with. There's no indication that he did, right? What would clear a lot of that up is a actual investigation and not a cover-up, because right now a lot of people are implicated. You should look into all of those claims and make sure which one separate fact from fiction and get the criminals from the non-criminals. That's actually a reason to look into this more.
No, that's a common misconception. Everyone knows when you have a bunch of subjects, you just have to drop the crime. Like, when you have a bunch,
just start dropping. That's all.
Too many people could have done it.
Too many people.
Because like, what happens if
I would love to see them play Clue. I would love to see. There's too many suspects here. Board game over.
Some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed. Because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about context. So you can't
What?
do that. You can't
You
destroy
can't
human
do that.
beings.
I
You
mean,
can
you
have
know,
a
what the
file
hell,
over it. You
man?
certainly can have Attorney General Bondi say, this is what we know, and we're going to protect the innocent, and he's a heinous individual. In that press conference, sitting next to Pam Bondi, should be Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of Joe Biden, who had these
That's
materials
interesting.
4 years.
Bipartisan
Okay,
cover-up.
okay, okay. If he had it for 4 years, who was president before Biden?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
By the
they
way, who
forgot
was
about.
president when Jeffrey Epstein died in his cell?
Right. Yes, that's a good point. I mean, we've seen this over and over again, though. They constantly, for every issue under the sun, when they mention anything that happened in like those final Trump years, they act like Trump was no longer the president. Like they've done this for numerous things. Like they're like
COVID.
when they're talking COVID,
The vaccine, Operation Warp Speed. Yep.
the vaccine. They're like, oh, I hate those lockdowns. I can't. That's why I didn't vote Democrat. Who did the lockdowns happen under? Who did Jeffrey Epstein die under? Who was the vaccine created under? All these things was their guy, but they just conveniently forget that final year or so of Trump's first term of presidency. It's very weird.
I mean,
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
What the hell, man? I thought we were done with that. What the hell?
He's
Why are you
both,
talking
like,
about
immensely
himself?
Powerful, strong, the ultimate alpha, a step away from God for MAGA, but he's also the victim of everybody around him, and it's just like all the people that he appoints and that are all his friends, they fail him.
This is how this sort of administrations or regimes have to psychologically sell what they're doing. This is the same thing with Nixon. It was all what LBJ did to me. They tapped my plane and stuff like that. Well, they tapped it because you were committing treason with the Paris peace talks, right? Like they view themselves as the victim, so they can go on offense and they call it defense.
Also, Bill O'Reilly used to have Alan Dershowitz on his show all the time. I don't know if
Well,
they're
yeah, but
personal
Dershowitz
friends
didn't take
or
his
not.
pants. He didn't take his underwear
Didn't
off.
take his
So
underwear
yeah, I
off,
don't even know why you bring him up.
Just to your point, Emma, a huge part of the cope has been like, this is not Trump keeping the file list buried. This is not Trump getting rid of evidence. This is like Pam Bondi. Like the right-wing MAGA crowd has really honed in on like Pam Bondi and like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino as like the triumvirate in charge of this like cover-up for some reason. They're all doing it for some reason.
But then why can't Trump, in his ever unceasing wisdom, get his like dogs to heal? Then that's the thing. That's what it rubs up against. Is like he can't be this like incredible leader and also allowing all of the people beneath him to do things he disagrees with. Especially what's so funny about their complete cognitive dissonance on this is he's, of everybody in the administration, the most implicated. If this was Trump 1.0 and Acosta was still in the administration, you would be like, okay, maybe number 2, because Acosta let Epstein off literally with such a light sentence down in Florida. But Trump in the administration is the number 1 connection to Epstein.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just a common way that people, not even just Republicans, but like people in our political process cope with the lack of accountability for broken promises from our politicians. It always just becomes someone else's fault. Like, oh yeah, they're not doing it on purpose. It's like they're just so naive about their staffing choices. Like for some reason, like he just can't drain that swamp, or like he's getting all of these like conspirators close to him so he can like snap the trap on all of them at one time. Like they just can't deal with the fact that like obviously they've been, led astray.
It's very funny to do that after in your second administration, after giving 4 years out of power supposedly to prepare all that stuff, and you're still doing the same thing of like, look at that, the first person I picked to head the DOJ is massively implicated in this.
They sound like the mom who like has a horrible son who treats everybody like crap and bullies people, but like she always finds a way to make an excuse for her kid's behavior, right?
But he's a good boy. He's a good boy.
It's been helpful. It's been helpful that like Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are like people of color and like a woman, because then they can extra hone in on it being about that. And then also, I mean, a lot of these people have their entire ego supplanted with Trump. So like they see so much of their own value in Trump's success, and to criticize Trump is to criticize themselves, and they can't bear to bring themselves to doing that. So, with Elon was a problem before. Now it's Pam Bondi. Now it's Kash Patel. Like it'll be someone else next week.
I have seen some like base Trump supporters, like just to come to terms with the fact that Trump is probably implicated with this.
Yeah, it's
And
the
They in
fir-
media though, Binder, or you mean like actual people? 'Cause
No,
that's
not in media, just regular people, just
Okay.
the voters. I have seen very few, but they usually have very funny responses like, we just got to come to terms that it's very possible that that Trump is on the list and maybe he is a pedophile, but the other things we need to he's good for the other things though. And it's amazing to see
Yeah,
them
yeah.
round that
Yes,
round
that was
come around to that. But
he's a white
and-
hat. He's a white hat nonce. That's what they're
Yeah.
calling it now. They're calling he's
I
called the
have
white
seen
hat
some
pedo
people-
cabal.
the QAnon thing, which is largely not so much the mainstream Trump supporters anymore, but the QAnon thing for the longest time was that Trump was actually undercover working in this, and
Yes.
maybe he maybe he did rape kids, but he did so.
He did it for the safety of protecting them.
Yeah,
That's even worse.
it takes a predator.
Engermentum, like had like some funny tweet about how you're not even satisfied with Q FBI director. Like, I mean, because that's who Kash Patel was. They're very what I think a lot of Democrats missed is this whole right-wing media ecosystem that everybody that staffed in the administration is super plugged into, from RFK to Kash Patel, and Patel was on every podcast that would have him saying that Epstein, the cover-up, is like the thing that is the most important issue, and he's gonna deal with it. And then to have Mr. Bug Eyes like pretending that there's nothing to see here. Oh, he killed himself. He's like you have to.
He
learn
killed
the
himself,
the
man.
deep state to be
Hurt
a
my
FBI
leg.
director, and they picked the dumbest guy who's unable to lie effectively to do that, and that's what's fun about this. But let's keep going.
Well, they've been saying that like it'd be different if Matt Gaetz was the attorney general.
Yes.
That's been part of their cope. Like if it were Matt Gaetz and not Pam Bondi, then the evidence would come out. Like,
Matt
that's how-
Gaetz,
Deep cover.
who's super undercover with having sex with minors. That is like he knows it intimately.
The Venmo Matt.
Intimately.
That's a good one.
Biden had it. Yeah, you don't hear that from the left, do you?
No, no, listen, what you do hear.
Yeah, you never hear that. You never hear that from the left.
That's in there. He would have given it to him. Now, I have to say
would've
something.
been
There's a
out.
point of clarification. Oh, 100%. But there's a point of clarification here. People are going to hear your explanation, and they may think, oh, yeah, he wants to protect all his buddies because
press
they
pause
were
for a second.
scumbags who were in the...
Yeah.
Like I've actually seen this from a number of MAGA people, all from the voter base to other MAGA influencers on on social media. This same thing that Chris Cuomo is saying about how you better believe that if Merrick Garland had it, he would have thrown that stuff out about Trump. But none of them who think like this is going to hurt the Democrats because the Democrats are the ones who are on there. None of them think that same thing, but going the other way where. If there were a ton of Democrats on there, why wouldn't have Trump and his administration release this stuff already? Like they don't think or they don't want to think this through because then it doesn't, their beliefs don't come to fruition because their beliefs might not be true. Like, I fully expect there to be tons of people on there, and the factor that keeps those people, the factor that connects those people isn't their political party or their ideology. The factor that's going to keep those people together is their status as elite members of society with tons of wealth and power.
Yeah, it's bipartisan. Like support for Israel is bipartisan. Like support for our insane national security state and our regime of surveillance. That the most likely explanation is that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset. That was what was told to Acosta, either U.S. or Mossad or a combination of both. But if he was a part of a honeypot situation to get certain world leaders or powerful people to have blackmail on them so they could be manipulated for United States foreign policy ends or Israeli foreign policy ends, then both parties would be invested in covering that up, especially the FBI director and anybody who wants that information to be used to further their intelligence aims. So that's the explanation. It's not that hard to figure out.
This tweet is still up from Christine Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, from July 6, 2019. This Epstein case is horrific and the young women deserve justice. It is quite likely that some of our faves are implicated, but we must follow the facts and let the chips fall where they may, whether on Republicans or Democrats. I mean, props to Christine for keeping that up, despite the winds having shifted out for both parties on this issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Might implicate some of our faves. Mom. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Well, Bill Clinton.
Bill,
hey, I
yeah.
mean, he's still getting out on the campaign trail for us. So
Maybe Ehud Barak is one of her faves or something. I mean, I'm not. We don't know, but we know that he was on Epstein's plane.
we all know Clinton is the Democratic Party equivalent of Trump when it comes to who's buddies with Epstein. Yes.
And they had a truce on it in 2015-16.
Yeah.
Right.
They did, right, and that's the point here, and it puts Trump in an uncomfortable position because he gets to lie all the time, but this is one thing that his base has actually been paying attention to. So.
No, that's not the point. It's the opposite point. I don't believe there is a client list. I think Bondi made a mistake. When
I know. I think they all disappeared.
I don't think Epstein had anything like that.
Just a mistake?
A lot
What's
of
that
mistakes.
called? Where you make a mistake about a statement of fact. Like, that's called a lie.
Right.
Wait, who made the mistake? Can you go back?
I mean,
that could be perjury then. Or the prosecutors made a mistake by basing their entire successful prosecution of Ghislaine Maxwell on the idea that there's a list? It was just a mistake.
It actually